Well, welcome back to Gopher's Workshop. I'm your host, Aaron, and joining me is my knight in shining armor today, or I guess, but black armor? Chris?
I'm as lost as you all are.
You are. You're right.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know what it means.
The face.
He's
Anyway.
trying so hard.
So, Chris, what are we talking about today, Chris?
Today, we're back to some Codex reviews.
Hey.
We're going to do Black Templars first. I know everyone is, at least internet-wise, is very excited about them. So I figure we start there. So as far as the Codex rule is concerned, there's not an uproar. There is some interesting stuff happening. First off, they are Marines. They got their own Codex. I mean, supplement. It actually uses the generic Codex. It's a real supplement. Hooray!
They didn't get the Space Wolf treatment?
No. I'm both pleased and upset about that. However, they did get something weird. They intentionally lose access to the oath mechanic. Gone.
Nope. No, nothing for you.
However, they get vows. And these vows, there's 4 of them. You get to choose them at the beginning of the game. And let me tell you, without the +1 to wound, I think I'd rather have these than generic oath. That's pretty good.
So hold on. Are you telling me that all Space Marine supplemental factions should have something like this from now on instead of oath?
That would be a reasonable option.
Ooh.
It's more thematic. It is arguably more flexible, right? Like there's times where it's arguably less efficient because like that +1 to wound means a lot, right? And it's against like the target that's the priority for that turn. And like, it's probably your problem, right? Like, don't get me wrong. +1 to wound oath is very powerful. And especially if you're playing like Ultramarines or Death Watch where you get double oath, like no complaints. It's pretty good. I'm not mad at it. Also, if you're not getting the +1 to wound, this is way better than oath. Like for no other reason than it's flexible enough that like the assassins, right? Would you ever play the Caluxus assassin? I think is the right one, right? The anti-psyker one. Eversor. Yeah, it's Caluxus. Eversor, Vindicare, Calidus, Caluxus. It's Caluxus. I got it right. Anyway. But the Caluxus assassin is like arguably pretty good, but like how often does it apply? Well, it's not worth putting in the list. One of these vows is like anti-psyker. Well, it turns out how often does it matter? It doesn't really, but also what happens when you play against Thousand Suns or Grey Knights or the Librarius Conclave. Well, now all of a sudden, that'd be pretty good. And the fact that I get to choose the beginning of the game makes it feel relevant because even if I take it rarely, when I do take it, I'm glad I took it. So again, I'm not saying these vows are like, holy cow, powerful, but also they are legitimately powerful enough with enough flexibility that they feel great. There's basically 2 that I think are amazing. Obviously, the anti-psyker one is good, but it's situational, so I'm not going to say it's great, but I do think it is good. The 2 that I really like are the there's +1 to your strength character, or if your strength of your melee is less than their toughness, you get +1 to wound. So it's like the reverse toughness thing.
That's so good.
You're right. Now, admittedly, this is very powerful, right? But also, depending which detachment you're using, you may not be interested because if you're already playing a bunch of chaplains, this doesn't really stack because it's max +1 to wound. Like, so there are things about this that, again, it's not like this is an auto take. It's amazing, but it's flexible enough depending on how you built your list that like, I'm not going to be mad at this. This seems fine.
Well, now, and you also have the option of like to choose, I can take a captain and still get the chaplain ability. The whole reason I'm taking him.
Yep.
It'd be real nice.
Yeah. And it goes like both ways, right? Because like, how often do you want to take a, chaplain and Terminator armor? Well, the +1 wound is good, but like, man, boy, howdy is that captain actually, I really could use reroll charges. Again, now you effectively could stack part of a chaplain with your other character you chose and be pretty happy about it. If nothing else, you can get half of the chaplain ability for no cost, right? Because like you don't have oath, but also I didn't have to pay any character points. I just get the +1. And maybe that's what makes my assault Terminators actually worth it, because there's no character tax. So again, pretty good. The other one I really like is kind of crazy. So infantry units all gain sticky.
Okay.
That sounds decent. There's a second part. This is why I think it's good. The second part is infantry only again. Whenever they do in advance, they can still do an action. So like this is not damage focused at all. And this is why I'm saying this is like so flexible. It's like Oath is purely damage focused, right? There's no other option. This is not strictly damage focused. Most of it is because it's a war game. But now I can just be like, you know what? But I want sticky and I want, do more actions. And now when I build this crazy elitist list, it doesn't feel so bad. I still get to like play the game and have a chance of winning on points. It's pretty solid.
I'm just going to say it. Sounds like that's an all infantry list.
You're right. And if you oops all infantry, you tend to have a major problem, right? There are some options, but there's not a ton of options that like are infantry and deal with tanks really well. Well, now I can play oops all infantry, and the fact that I can sticky and like out action people, it feels less bad that I can't deal with a knight list because I'm out actioning them. I might actually out OC them because I'm playing all infantry instead of spending points in this big expensive tank with like 3 OC. Could be good. So anywho, moving on. A couple of funny things I want to point out about the army rule. So not only did they lose oath, but as per normal, they are not allowed to take psychers. That's thematic. That's fine.
That's crazy. No way. We didn't see that coming. This is not news to anyone. Okay. They also said they're not allowed to take the first company detachment anymore. The least played one. Because it's like a bonus to oath. Okay, it makes sense they can't take that. How dare they?
But first off, the argument is, why would you take that if you don't have oath? So they're trying to like make this dummy proof, right? Again, I'm on board, right? There's new guys that don't understand. They get confused. Why doesn't this work? But let's say that's true. I have a problem. They're not allowed to take any psychers. You know what they can still do? Take the Librarius Conclave detachment.
They get no benefit from it.
Correct.
But you can take it.
But like, I don't have a problem with that, right? Because it's like, no, obviously you get no benefit. Why would you take it? But if that's the argument, then why did you prevent me from taking first company? You were trying to make a dummy proof and then left an opening for a dummy.
No. We left an opening for Chris. The only person that's thought about that detachment since it came out.
Okay, first off, that's not true. We've had people play it in the store. Like, it is somewhat relevant. But also, what I'm doing is I'm heading off Mitch, right? He wants to send me all these lists with like, no, it's a Custodes list without a single Custodes model. I'm telling you right now, play BT's list that plays a Psyker detachment with no Psychers. Like, I can do the dumb too.
Oh, God.
All right, moving on.
Our poor guardsman, Mitch.
Yep. He loves it. So when it comes to detachments, we only got 3 detachments here, which is totally fine. Because again, we still have access to all the generic Marine stuff. So it's not actually 3, it's like 8. Even with, actually it's more than 8, even with the restriction of no first company. But amongst these 3, I think there's a couple that are okay
I don't actually like them, but they're okay. If you build around them, you could probably make them all right. And there's one that I actually think is really good. We'll start with the okay ones. So the one that I think is arguably the worst, but again, if you build around it, it's okay-ish. It's not actually bad. Is the Vindication Task Force, something like that. Vindication. So it's built around basically Crusader squads, BT thing, sounds good. And then Ancients. Normally, I would really hate it before I even finish reading it. But we did get a new sweet Crusader Ancient model. So like, no, he's pretty sweet. Maybe this is okay. And like, if they have enough buffs, there's an argument to like, we finally found a reason to play the Ancients. Short answer is it's not bad, but basically your character taxing everything is what's happening, right? Because you need Ancients
so it's
everywhere.
It's kind of like the Blood Angels, like characters.
Yep, not great. But at least with this, you're instead of giving a damage buff like you do with Blood Angels, you're getting a defense buff.
Okay.
So basically every unit you put an Ancient in gains the -1 to wound if their strength is higher than your toughness. It turns out we have a detachment like this for Dark Angels, and they didn't have a character tax. They had an infantry restriction, but also it turns out we unintentionally also have an infantry restriction because, like, where else are you putting Ancients?
So, okay, hold on. Before you go any further, I still think how this could be a pliable list to play, and it's very much focused on the second. What were they called? The +1 to wound and the
Chaplain?
No, the +1 to wound and then the other ability they have.
The vows.
The vows, yeah. So the second vow, all right. Having sticky, you're tougher, and you have sticky now.
What? All right, hold on. Let me add an additional restriction.
Okay, all right. I got too excited.
Yep. You're not allowed to have nice things. Every codex has a bad detachment. I'm telling you, it's it. In addition to requiring an Ancient and the strength to be higher to get the -1, which unintentionally also means you have to be infantry, this ability only exists while the unit is on an objective. So why sticky it if you're obligated to stand there?
Oh, God. So at that point, you just want a +1 to wound everything.
Yeah.
Okay, that feels bad now. So you only get all this, you only get tougher, and you only get all this glorious abilities if you're on an objective. All right.
Yes. Again, there are like enhancements that are Ancient specific. There are stratagems that are Ancient unit specific. Like it's not that this is a terrible detachment. I've definitely seen worse, but also is kind of like you'd really have to build for it. And then after you build for it, you're relying on like the Crusader Ancient model to put in a lot of work because like the regular Ancients aren't very good.
So, okay, I will caveat all of this with saying, I agree with you. This seems like already, without even knowing much about it, seems like it might be the worst detachment in the book. However, we have definitely seen worse, and we've made worse work. We have made a Death Company list, and that was pretty bad.
Sure.
Not awful.
I'm gonna say this is on a similar level, right? Now that the Death Company got some buffs, not only with like cheaper points, but also the updated rule as far as like Blood Angel characters having a bigger aura.
Yep.
I think now the Death Company detachment is better than this. Before they got all the buffs, I would argue this is pretty similar. It's not, again, both of them are playable.
Yeah.
Both of them could be okay if you really put in the effort, but also none of them are objectively good in any way.
So this is going to be, to sum it all up on this one, this is going to be a player skill level dependent detachment, not a model and ability skill level.
Short answer is yes, but also the next one that I think is okay-ish, I think also has a high skill cap. And if you have that high skill cap, I think you'd still rather play this other one.
Okay.
But let's move on to that.
Yeah.
So the next one is the God Hammer Assault Force.
Well, that name just sounds so cool.
It is. But now this is mechanized infantry. This is all about transports. Godhammer being a reference to the las cannons from the Land Raider. Anywho, this is not terrible. There are a bunch of there's some decent strats. You've got a bunch of stacking buffs, right? All the buffs basically require the obligation of you are a dedicated transport, or you disembarked from a transport this turn, or it's all transport related. So there's a ton of restrictions. But if you can deal with that high skill cap of there's 15 restrictions to everything you do, everything stacks. It's actually how many buffs do you want? Because you could just have that many. It's pretty good. Again, I'm not saying it's actually good. They have an objectively better detachment. Just do that. But also, if this fits your theme, if this is an actual narrative thing, this is probably pretty solid. This is a way that you could unintentionally build a kind of glass cannon force. Because if you're all in transports, and your transports are probably big toughness, right? Land Raiders, etc. You could start as a toughness skew on turn 1, maybe even turn 2. And by turn 2 or 3, you dump out of all your transports. You get a million stacking buffs. You totally swing the game hard. This could be this giant glass cannon style list. This could be good. I think there's too many restrictions to make this easy to play. And for that reason alone, even if you have a high skill cap, why not just play the easier thing, right? Everybody makes mistakes. Why not have some forgiveness when those happen? Because we know they're going to happen, right? Even the best players make mistakes. So again, not bad, but also too restrictive. I think it's very thematic. It's probably, I'm willing to bet when they wrote this, they thought this was going to be, no, here's our dud detachment. We always write one dud detachment, but it's for the narrative guys or something, right? Mm-hmm. I think this is actually better than the other one. But also because the Land Raiders and stuff, they do things. They're good. They're expensive, but they're good.
So for this detachment, you're paying a vehicle tax instead of a character tax.
You're right. But I feel better about it because while the tax is way higher, the answer is my tax is not only giving me some actually good rules where the ancients give me rules, I guess. Crusader Ancient's decent, but regular Ancients, if you take Terminators or whatever else, do they do something? Technically, but I don't, even being as cheap as they are, I don't know that I want them. So the Ancients don't really do a whole lot. So it's a tax that feels like it's a real tax. With if I'm taking Land Raiders or Repulsors, the answer is they have scary guns. They are doing a job on their own. Also, they took the other things that I purchased, the things that I'm taxing, arguably, and they made them way tougher. They made them, I'm not getting units wiped on turn 1. It's not happening. It makes it to where you have a smaller footprint. So I'm able to deploy and hide my entire force turn 1 instead of, but I ran out of room behind buildings. So now it's I have to kind of expose something.
Yeah.
Nope, don't have to. It's all in transports. So again, high skill cap. There are ways to make this good, but it's a lot. Every buff has a restriction of but did you disembark from a transport? And that's all on top of this is another one of those things that feels it's very bookkeeping heavy, because by the time you're on turn 3 or 4, which units disembarked this turn and which ones disembarked last turn? Which ones the vehicle exploded? Do they count as disembarking? Well, it doesn't really matter because it's probably your opponent's turn. But now as a tournament organizer, I have to start explaining some stuff, because even if the rules make it clear, your average player is going to be no, they overwatched my vehicle because it had 3 wounds left. And now I was obligated to disembark that way, but I didn't choose to regular disembark. Do I still get all my buffs? How do we track that? The answer is yes, you still get those because you count as disembarking. But also, you think your average casual player is going to feel confident in that ruling?
Mm-hmm. Lots of bookkeeping on this one.
Yep. Last detachment, best detachment. Okay. Super excited. So the short answer is this detachment, while the main detachment rule is units get to Astartes units get to re-roll advance and charge rolls. That's it. Okay. Not bad. Not all that impressive. Acceptable. Now, the whole rest of like the enhancements and stratagems, they are effectively giving a theme to this detachment, which is we are pro chaplain and we are pro Judy.
Hey.
Immediately we have a theme that is arguably competitive, right? Because chaplains and Judys are awesome. I don't care who we attach them to. +1 to wound is always good, feels great. Judy with fights first is amazing, plus precision. And, you know, like, nope, we're choosing good characters and now we're giving them better stuff.
I just want to say, Chris ain't lying. I attached a chaplain on bike to 6 bikes, made those 6 bikes way better.
Yep. So, this one has some redundancy in it, in that, like, depending on which vow you choose, one of your stratagems is like, but why would you ever do that? You already have it. You've got like an enhancement that does something similar to what, you know, you're already kind of getting. So it's not bad. Okay. There's some redundancy. However, I don't care. Right. It gives you the flexibility of like, no, but I'm hardly ever going to use this strat. I'm just going to choose that ability. Also, what happens in that game where you actually choose like the anti-psyker vow? Well, now this exists again and I still have access to the cool thing that I'm used to. I don't have a problem with it. This is actually very good. Play this one. Okay. Obviously, you still have access to your generic Marine detachments. Some of those are still very playable, no complaints. That being said, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm probably playing this detachment because of one of the new characters. We'll get to that in a minute.
I assume we're going to get to that after the break.
We can. I tell you what, before we go to break, I have a lore question. Those of you out there need to help me because I don't fully understand Black Templars, and that's fine. I've mentioned before that this is not absurdly restrictive when it comes to characters attaching to different things. There are characters get to attach to regular intercessors that are, you know, Black Templar named characters. You got regular Black Templar units that say anything can be attached to me if it could attach to like an intercessor unit, right? So we're not restrictive. However, there's one or arguably 2 caveats, and I don't know why. I assume it's a lore thing, so I'm not mad about it. I'm just curious. Helbricht and Grimaldus cannot attach to Stern Guard. For clarity, VTs have their own Stern Guard unit. They aren't allowed to take the basic Marine, which is fine. No complaints. Why can't they go to Stern Guard? Also, why do the Stern Guard in here they're not allowed to take non-Black Templar characters? They're the only one that's restrictive. It's just the Stern Guard data sheet. Now, it's not all characters. It's just those 2, right? Like all the Castellan and the Marshal, they can all go with Stern Guard. So it's just the 2 big guys, a chaplain and a chapter master, or a high marshal, as it were. Also, Black Templar Stern Guard, canonically, I assume they're different. We call them Stern Guard, but they're actually took a secret vow, something. I don't know. I don't know the lore enough. But why can't like a lieutenant go with the Stern Guard? Are they afraid that they're going to like kill the lieutenant? Don't get me wrong. I've met some lieutenants, but also why not? It's like the apothecary going to show up and be like, I'm here to protect your gene seed and make you feel better. And then they're all just going to like turn around and be like, we're Stern Guard veterans. If you stand too close to me, you will regret it. I don't know.
Like, you will die.
I could not explain it.
All right, you hear. You leave it in the Spotify comments or the YouTube comments. Let Chris know why we can't do the thing that he wants to do.
what part of Black Templar Sterngard are not actually Sterngard?
What crazy vow did they take? So they couldn't have other people with them.
You are about to get a list of vows that are irrelevant to the canon, but they're just going to give you some like, no, this could be a vow. And they just, we're going to have to weed through so much.
I tell you real. What, if we do get a ton of vows on this YouTube video, I will 100% dedicate an episode to talking about the dumb vows. We'll take a lore break. And
you are asking for literal chaos.
Let's go. Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Guess where we're at?
Patron time.
Patron time. So we want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to our Guardsman patron, Sergeant Matt.
Yeah, I feel like you're getting slower every time you say that. Eventually, you're just going to like blue screen shut down.
We have to give a shout out to our White Shield Guardsman patrons, Mitch and Nicodemus. So thank you to our patrons. You make all of this happen. Thanks.
You're all the best.
You're all the best. Also, thanks to our listeners, because without you, we wouldn't have a show. So, yeah, you're the best too. Love you. Kisses, hugs. All right. Chris.
Yes.
We got some stuff this week.
We sure do. A mountain of new plastic. So we'll start with the easy stuff. I am very confused, but also somewhat happy that we got Vulcan coming. This seems way early. I'm pretty sure the roadmap indicated like fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. This is not fourth quarter. But we got Vulcan. Hey, cool. We also got the Salamander's Combat Patrol, which is a heck of a good buy, by the way. I don't just mean dollars wise, but like, no, that's all seems useful, right? Especially for Salamanders. Like, you could argue Infernus aren't the greatest, but also you're playing Salamanders. You're definitely playing those guys. So, no, pretty solid stuff. I've had a bunch of people ask me. I don't know what GW's plan is. We'll all find out together. We may see like one of the new chapters that they spoiled like every other week is kind of what I think is going to happen. So they'll do like we did 40K this week. They'll do not 40K next week. And then we'll get like White Scars and then do Old Worlds. And then we'll do Iron Hands. Like, I don't know. That's kind of what I expect is going to happen, but we'll see. Beyond that, we got a mountain, an almost doubling of Votann along with their Codex.
Yeah.
So super happy about the Codex. They've, needing it because they've been in a bit of a weird place. Not bad. They've been doing just fine, by the way, competitively. Just fine. New Codex looks good so far. The characters and their descriptions as to what they do, very excited. Also, we got little baby dreadnoughts, little dwarf dreadnoughts.
I know. Dwarf nuts. I'm so excited for these.
Dwarf nuts, dwarf carriers, little baby carriers.
Little dwarf baby carriers. Yep. Oh, God. They're so small, they put 3 in a box.
But they're still bigger than all the other dwarves.
They're
right. Like double the height, which is definitely not compensating for anything. And they're also like double the width. Like, no, they're pretty big.
I'm so ready for this.
They look very sweet. Also, I gotta be honest, the Votann guy with Tyrannid top carapace. Beer gut. Yep.
Yeah, beer gut.
That guy, he looks pretty dope.
Okay? He does.
Moving past that, there is 2 words in its description that I am telling you he's going to be an auto include in every list. What does every Space Marine list have? I mean, like, not everyone, but like 90% of them. Lone Op Lieutenant.
Is he a lone op?
Beer Guts, lone op.
He also has a 2-up.
Sure.
But lone op.
I wish that would matter. He's lone op. You're never even going to shoot him. Like, he's going to be cheap enough with some sweet abilities and lone op that a minimum, he's going to be an auto include because he's going to be a cheaper home field holder than anything else. Maybe, and I mean maybe, we're also getting the like mortar crews because they probably have indirect, though that's not confirmed. Maybe you put that on your home field objective and you don't take him. But you know what's going to be in 90% of lists? Lone op, Votan. At least one.
Even if he ends up playing somewhat like Mephiston, he's still a great midfield holder too.
Yep.
No, come at me, bro.
if he's actually as scary as Mephiston, which would be crazy, but let's say he is, you're right. I will put mortars on the backfield and let him run up the field because Mephiston is nuts. For his points, he does so much work.
He does.
So yeah, don't get me wrong. Dreadnoughts are cool. Mortar team is neat. The other characters look very relevant. Like, I like the abilities that are on them. I didn't actually think any of them were bad. At least what descriptions we have so far. That Lone Op Lieutenant, I think that's going to be the one that sells out the fastest.
Oh, yeah. So can we also talk about the ghost drops that happened this week? Out of nowhere?
Boo.
Boo. We got Slaughterbound.
Yes, Slaughterbound and Lord of Poxes. For those of you that don't play these factions, these were the two characters that were new releases with their army battle force things and Codex just a little bit ago, but they were only existed in these big boxes.
Now so you could only get one of each unless you bought multiple boxes,
which was crazy expensive. But now you can get like the individual characters and you can flesh out the like, but I want to run 2 Slaughterbound or I want to run 3 Lord of Poxes because I think he's nuts. Now you can do that and it's not terrible on the wallet. So this is kind of it's not like a release to get excited about, but it's a release that like needed to happen. Pretty happy with it.
Yep. This has nothing to do with anything else, but I want to mention this is the first time I've seen a plushie on the list and it was a Scarab.
It is not the first plushie. They actually have the little like head-sized plushies. That's my sizing. The little head-sized plushies for a bunch of stuff. Most of them have actually been Age of Sigmar so far, but we have gotten some other ones.
I haven't seen any 40K on this list.
I think there is another 40K one.
There probably is. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But I think it's great that we have a Scarab.
Yep.
You want it for the office?
No.
Mr. Necron?
No. For any of you that are wanting any of this, obviously we will have pre-orders up. It'll still be 15% off.
Yep.
For those of you that are interested in some of the weird stuff, like there was some made to order old worlds, and there's also the plushie. Those are web only. If you want those, I need you to send us an email as soon as you see this so that we can make sure we order it for you because it doesn't come through normal distro. But we can still take care of you. We will still get you that 15% off as best we can.
Sounds good. Well, on that note, do you got anything else to the mid-break?
Not for the mid-break. Let's get back to the cool Codex stuff.
All right. So let's get to the last part of our episode. This is the first time I'm saying this. First time we've done a Codex review and you weren't crapping all over something. This is the first time you've been, no, it's pretty good. I wouldn't take it. There's better options, but this one's pretty good.
Is that a challenge?
No.
I can find a thing.
No.
No, I think this is overall really good. There's a ton of stuff in here that, again, if you build around it, you can make it acceptable. I don't like it. I would probably never play it, but also, it's not terrible. There's nothing that's objectively bad. And maybe, going out on a limb here, maybe I don't hate this Codex because they've like lowered the bar recently of what bad is. I don't want to get off on a tangent here. This is for another episode, but also I have been playtesting Space Wolves recently. I'm still upset.
You're winning though.
Sometimes, or I'm losing really hard. I've confirmed what I believe. We'll talk about that later. We didn't even talk about it latest episode, as is relevant to the Black Templars. But let's give them the rest of the context of Black Templars.
Let's give them the credit they deserve.
So there's a couple of really interesting things I want to note, because obviously, if you guys are interested in playing Black Templars, there are read it word for word reviews out there somewhere. There's always a ton of them. If you're actually interested in playing them, you're probably going to get the Codex and read it yourself. I'm not here to spoil a bunch of stuff for you. I'm here to help you see the weird thing and also better understand things so you don't feel so overwhelmed when you do get your Codex. But things of interesting note here is the Castellan. He actually has different wording than we've seen this whole edition. Castellan's ability, take a leadership test, blah, 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 selected to fight. So this is only melee. None of that's relevant. What it says, though, is you can re-roll the hit roll for models in the unit when making attacks if failed.
Oh.
So now, unlike Oath, you can't just decide, yeah, no, I hit, but I'm fishing for lethals. Nope, too bad. You hit, keep it.
Okay. Do you think this is the way most of our stuff's going to start heading?
No. And here's why I say that. Because so Castellan's pretty interesting. I like him. So his ability is in the fight phase. Unit gets, when it's selected to fight, takes a leadership test. If passed, gets to re-roll hit rolls. If you fail the leadership test, you only re-roll once. So you're always re-rolling something. But if you pass the leadership, you get full re-rolls.
It's kind of weird wording, but okay.
Yes, I messed it up. Okay. I read it the first time. I was reading a little too fast. I messed it up. But that's how it works. It's pass and fail, referencing the leadership test, not the hit roll.
Still weird wording.
Anyway, Castellan's pretty good. He's just got some confusing wording, so I wanted to bring him up. Moving on, one of the new models, the Extricator.
Oh,
Extractor.
Is this like the chaplain looking guy?
Yeah.
He's so cool looking.
The super chaplain. So the short answer is he's not actually a chaplain. He's just extra Black Templar looking. Okay. So his ability is the unit he's leading gets to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. So it gives him advance and charge. Going back to our favorite detachment, re-rolling advance and charge rolls. Not only is this man an auto include, I don't care what detachment you're playing. Also, so help me, is he about to be spammed in that detachment? You're playing that detachment, you're taking 3 of them. Decide what they're being attached to. Now build the rest of your list. It's pretty good. In addition to that, he has additional rules about battle shock tests and killing units and stuff like that because he's scary looking. But the other new model we got is Crusader Ancient. I'm sure a bunch of people have talked about him. He's an ancient. He is objectively better than others. But the reason I want to talk about him is because I think there's a implied hobby challenge in his rules.
Okay.
So one of his abilities is the Martial Honor. The first time this model or a model in this model's unit makes a melee attack and destroys 1 or more enemy units until the end of the battle, this model, so the Ancient specifically, as long as he's not battle shocked, you add 5 to his OC characteristic. So he goes from OC1 to OC6. Okay, that's like an Ancient thing. We're messing with OC, right? No complaints. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But here's the implied challenge. Do you remember the 2 different banner options that he has?
Yes.
So hear me out.
Okay.
We got to do some hitting or magnetizing. You play him with the one banner. You kill an enemy unit, and then you swap his banner to be the banner that has the skeleton of the enemy strapped to it. And that's why he gains the extra OC. It's because now everyone's scared of him.
There's the hobby challenge. I was like, how are you going to turn this into a hobby challenge? Okay.
Yep. You got to paint up both banners, but also I'm telling you, that's like the best indicator I've ever heard of. And it comes in the kit.
You're not spending any extra money. It's so already good. There.
I'm not saying I'm excited about Black Templars, but also sounding pretty good.
Sounding pretty great. Oh, now I just want the banner.
I'm telling you, this is like the trick. You put in sweet banners and then give them rules to like, no, you can use whichever one you want because they look cool. Also, what if the rule implied you want to swap them? Well, now the best ancient model GW has ever had, period. Like, I'm in love with this thing. All right, moving on. I want to point out Sword Brethren. I think this is one of my big takes. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I would also, at least for my list, say this is another auto include. I'm not saying you spam it 3 of, right? But it's pretty good. The Sword Brethren got a rules update. The new update, their rule, I should say, each time an enemy unit with engagement range of the selected model or selected unit falls back after the fallback move ends, if this unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, so like it was multi-charged or whatever, then this unit gets to make a normal move. You fell back for me. I'm glad you got away, but I'm 1 inch away again. And I've pinned you in place. Or like, no, you fell forward because you have jump packs. Well, that's great. But also, you know how you had like a 12-inch move? No. Come my turn, I'm still going to be 1 inch away. You're not fast enough. It's pretty solid. This also doesn't say where it has to go. So it doesn't say like closer to the nearest enemy unit or anything like that. It's just a normal move. Oh, you fell back from me? Well, I'm glad we were fighting over here, but now that you fell back from me, I'm going to run backwards. And now I'm holding the objective that none of us were on, or that you were holding, but I took it away from you.
And now on my turn, I'm going to score for it. This is so crazy good. I don't know why you wouldn't take at least 2 of these.
It's so good.
This is like, to me, it sounds like a slightly modified version of the Blade Guard.
I have no idea where we're going with this. I would argue before this update in Index, they were basically Blade Guard.
Yeah.
But worse. Like you would always take Blade Guard. They were worst in efficiency. They were not necessarily worse in flavor. They looked cool, but also they were basically just Blade Guard, but a 5-man squad instead of 3. That was it.
Yeah.
Now this brand new rules does a totally different job. Still looks cool. Still has some sweet weapons. Being that you're no longer actually comparing it to Blade Guard because it's doing like a wholly separate job.
Yeah.
This unit's actually great. I love this unit.
What I mean is I'm comparing it to Blade Guard because it's a unit you absolutely want stuck in a melee as often as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Blade Guard's entire job is to literally be in melee as much as possible. So is these.
Right.
Also, get in melee with the things you know are going to fall back now.
Wait, it also, but see, this is where it creates like hard choices for your opponent, which is the like number one job you have is to give your opponent hard choices, right? Because it's like, no, I want to hold this objective, but I could just charge that unit and they're going to fall back, right? No, but what if I pile into them anyway? Why? Because they were going to fall back and then I'll be on the objective anyway. And now I've taken away their shooting. Or they don't want me on that objective. So now they stay engaged. And now I'm guaranteed another round of combat and I could just kill the unit outright.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tough choice for your opponent. Do I just lose the unit or do I fall back and give them the objective after losing the shooting for this unit? I don't want to make that choice. It's great. I'm not saying this is a like spam 3 of, but I am saying this is probably an auto include at least one in every one of my BT lists. This is a great unit.
Yeah.
You should be playing. All right. We already kind of talked about Sternguard and how I'm confused about them. So we're going to move past those guys. I'm going to make a complaint. And this isn't.
Oh, finally, we're getting a complaint.
This isn't even necessarily about Black Templars, but it is. I am confused why in so many other codexes we are losing units left and right. And the argument is like, oh, it's an old model. It's like fine cast. We don't make that anymore. It would like even Space Wolves lost a bunch of characters that arguably they still make, right? The Wolf Lord and Thundercav always came out of the Thundercav kit.
Yep.
They were making it. Technically, they still are. They even left the Thundercav in the Codex, but they didn't want to deal with why would we have more unique data sheets? That's just more work for us to balance. Well, no change from Index. Black Templar still have 5 or 6 vehicle data sheets that are objectively identical to regular Space Marines, but you can't play the Space Marine version. You can only play there, like the Black Templar version. And the only difference, you get a multi-melta. So all 3 gladiators, the repulsor executioner, the impulsor, I'm pretty sure is identical, but that one I want to double check on. They're the same. The only difference is extra piece of war gear, but we made wholly separate data sheets, spent multiple pages of printing in order to say you get an extra multi-melta. But why?
Because sometimes you have to, okay?
But again, if you really had to, why are we getting rid of half of another chapter's codex when we gave them an extra third of their data sheets to Black Templars that are redundant? Do you think Black Templar players were going to be like, no, but we can't take multi-meltas anymore? Well, this is terrible. You've ruined all our lore. Like, no, they weren't. They still get to take gladiators. They still get to take lancers. At this point, most people were probably expecting to but that's a very redundant data sheet with all the other data sheets that you've axed this edition. I'm fine with losing those, right? I would rather lose those than Drago. Talk about that next week. It's a Terminator edition where we're updating all of our Terminators. Hey, there's a Terminator character that's like pivotal to all of your lore. See ya.
Oof, he's gone.
Anyway, we'll get to that next week. But yeah, I don't understand why we did this. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't match anything else they're doing this edition. I would argue baffling. Moving on. Land Raider Crusader. I need to bring this one up. I am hoping, I don't know this. I'm hoping, okay? Praying to the Emperor. The Land Raider Crusader for the Black Templars gained a bonus rule. Still has assault ramp. All Land Raiders do.
Yep.
Sounds great. Bonus rule. They gained in the shooting phase after this model has shot, select one enemy unit hit by these attacks until the end of the turn. Each time a friendly model that disembarked from this transport makes an attack that targets that same unit, reroll hit roll and wound rolls of 1.
Oh,
I don't know why the regular Space Marine Land Raider Crusader doesn't have this. This sounds reasonable. This sounds great. I want it.
Guess you're playing Black Templars next.
But again, I don't care if you're playing Blood Angels or Salamanders or White Scars or even like Ultramarines, not that they need any help. This still seems reasonable. I'm okay with this. Why do we give it to Black Templar specifically? Just update the regular Land Raider Crusader. Save yourself a whole page worth of printing and make Space Marines the world over a little happier, a little distracted from all the bitching about Space Wolves. I don't know, whatever.
I think that's only you.
It is only me, but I'm going to keep doing it. Okay, so let's do a little review because we're here talking about competitive, right? So here's my honest assessment of the Codex as a whole when it comes to competitive. A ton of the abilities across multiple data sheets in this say when attacking an enemy unit, but then it'll have in parentheses excluding vehicle and monster. So there's a bunch of this that is intended to kill elite units or infantry style units, right? Because of that, I think just like we saw before, you're still going to see Black Templar lists running like multiple Lancers, including several, ballistas, things like that, because they're going to want some solid tank busting that maybe isn't super on theme or like, it's just like Crusader squads and, go punch them. We're angry. You're going to have some solid like shooting, firing base in most of your lists. So I don't know that necessarily changed, but that is a note that a bunch of abilities say excluding monsters and vehicles. That's not a negative here. If we're going back to Space Wolves, the thing that I'm learning, well, I don't say learning, the thing I'm confirming is that Space Wolves are actually incredibly competitive into an elite environment. As long as they're not running a bunch of tanks, it turns out Space Wolves are great. They can kill elites like nobody's business. They struggle with vehicles. You need to take generic Marine stuff, but because they struggle to give synergy to generic Marine stuff, they feel penalized by it. These guys don't. Okay, so they're happy to take not only their special Lancer, but also they don't feel bad taking a Ballistus. They don't feel bad taking just other generic Marine stuff. So I think overall the Codex is extremely competitive. Black Templars, I'm saying. Space Wolves, I'm not saying they can't be competitive, but I'm confirming my opinion. If you Dreadnought spam Space Wolves, they're pretty solid. Otherwise, they struggle against vehicles and they're not balanced enough to be that good. Speaking of Space Wolves, here's my issue with Black Templars. This is a lore problem.
You were like, speaking of Space Wolves, here's my problem with Black Templars. Whoa, you just jumped from one ship to the next, buddy.
Okay, but do you know who the air quotes mortal enemy of the Space Wolves are?
No.
Depending on which books you read, it's either orcs, sure, whatever, or the Thousand Sons. Almost all the art that GW puts out is basically wolves fighting orcs or wolves fighting Thousand Sons. So these are like the two things wolves fight, right? Well, there used to be, a lot of this is gone. And this is another lore thing we can talk about another time, but Space Wolves used to basically be anti-psyker. And it's not that they were opposed to the warp and using those powers, it's that they didn't have real psykers. All of their psykers were like rune priests. So they understood the language of the warp and they were able to utilize the warp without directly connecting with it to protect themselves and keep themselves pure or whatever you want to call it, right? So they're effectively anti-psyker. Black Templars, clearly anti-psyker. They don't allow, no warp shenanigans. We don't deal with it all. Black Templars are infinitely better at killing Thousand Sons than Space Wolves. And I'm sad about that.
You were on top. And now you're just really not good at anything anymore.
We are good at having sweet looking models. So if you're a hobbyist, hobby your little heart out. I'm going to go off in my corner and start building something. I don't know.
Well, on that note, are you content with the high praise that you gave the High Marshal this episode?
Yeah, Black Templars, I think, are pretty amazing. I'm going to argue they are competitively probably the death of Space Wolves for a while. They are objectively can kill elitist like nobody's business, just like Space Wolves. They are just as good. Also, because they don't lack the same synergy problems, they can do tank busting a little better. So I think these are the reasons that Space Wolves aren't going to be played for a while, because Black Templars are just better. That's the thing you're doing. Play Black Templars. I'm going to even argue, while they don't have the same mobility, they have enough of the same mobility. They may start being the reason why you see less Blood Angels players.
Get bent.
You're not spamming jump packs, right? You're not as fast. But I'm telling you, all
right,
they're going to hit basically as hard as you, and they're not that much slower.
And you know what? This whole episode, I've been thinking, I think I could play a Black Templars list.
Are you in the middle of proving my point?
No, I changed my mind.
That's what I thought. Obviously, there are still other Marines, like Ultramarines, that are like, they do a totally different thing, right? They're gunliney. Yep. They're, they do have some melee with Gilliman and Calgar and stuff like that, but they're basically a gunline faction. They're mostly shooting. Iron Hands, mostly shooting. I'm not saying that like these are the Marines to play or the Marines to beat, but I'm saying there are several melee focused factions or lists that I think are going to have less player base now, because people are competitively going to switch over to Black Templars, which are doing the same thing, but a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, with all that being said, before we wrap this episode up, I want to shout out again that we're having our first GT. Gopher Games is having their first GT in October, specifically October
4th and 5th.
4th and 5th. Yep.
The first weekend, Saturday, Sunday is the GT.
So first weekend GT, 2-day event, 4th and 5th of October. Tickets are on sale right now. The link is in the show notes for this episode. You can go check it out. I hope you come. It's going to be a great time. There's going to be lots of prizes, lots of just downright good old fashioned 40K fun.
About that, we can't make too many announcements yet, but also we're going to start telling everybody about the prize support we have coming. There's a lot.
Some good.
There's maybe you'll get like a whole table worth of terrain.
Holy crap.
Maybe you'll get a free event ticket to a GT, like one of the super majors.
Whoa. I'm liking this more and more.
I'm discussing with a bunch of people, a bunch of prize support. I want to tell everybody because I'm excited, but also I got to confirm some stuff before I can tell everybody, because I don't want to get people, disappointed.
Super excited. Yep.
But,
and then disappoint.
Long story short,
we're going to have some good prizes.
Get tickets while you can, because if you know for sure you're coming, I would get your ticket as soon as you can.
Yep.
If you wait until I announce some of these prize supports, I think we're going to pull some people from pretty far away, because what is it? I think, if I remember correctly, I think it's like $70 or $80 is the ticket to the super major. Like that alone is like, people want to get into that, especially when that super major tends to sell out. It's not like, now I could go if I want to. It's like, no, they sell out and then they hold back like X number of tickets that they give out to tournaments like us. And they're like, no, you can give this to one of your winners or raffle it or whatever else. Mm-hmm. So like by the time we announce it, there'll still probably be slots when we announce it, but also there won't be slots forever. So
at any rate, go check it out. Get your tickets now. The link's in the show notes below. Got some good prizes, some really good prizes. That being said, also, while you're there getting your ticket, you can also check it out. Our web store. Get yourself 15% off all GW stuff all the time.
Yep.
And check out some of the other games we have in there too.
Pre-orders, old stock, new stock, all the good stuff.
Got all kinds of good stuff. We got a box that's sitting on the shelf right now. It's been like, 15 years old?
Yeah. We don't get those very often, but also we get them on occasion.
At any rate, go check us out. Links to the show notes for the web store as well. So on that note, Chris, you got anything else?
go forth and crusade.
Oh, for the God Emperor. We'll see you all next week. Hey, everybody, it's Aaron. I want to thank you again for tuning in for this episode of Gopher's Workshop with us, hanging out and listening. Remember, leave a 5-star review. Let us know what you think. And if you feel like supporting us, you can always go to Patreon in the show notes below. Thanks. Till next time.